All right, wonders of the internet. I was just complaining. I was just saying the other day that it was good. Like I didn't seem to get disconnected anymore, and here it is again. So I still got at least a half hour in me. But unlike when I used to stream with my phone, I could just wait for it to reconnect, and I don't lose anybody. This one, it automatically kicks me out. So I don't know. Maybe it was better when I had shittier resolution. Well, of course, now the polyurethane dried on here. You only guys lost me for about 2 minutes. And I hate that because we had like a good conversation going on. I had half dozen people or something. I didn't preface the last conversation with saying, hey, if I do get disconnected, and it hadn't happened in about a week, and all it is just get disconnected from the internet for, say, like 30 seconds is enough to mess everything up. Well, we won't be doing any live games from here with that unreliability thing, but I don't know what it is. It may be OBS. It may be OBS that's doing that. I don't know. It's a free program, and it's perpetually in beta, I think. So we'll see. Maybe that's what it is. But I wasn't ready to be done. I gotta knock these guys out. So space-time continuum. I think it's the Taliban. I think it's kind of like it's like stepping on an anthill. When you're stepping on an anthill, the ants are constantly fighting the foot that's stepping on them. But as soon as you take the foot off of them, there's no telling where they're gonna go. Thank you for your service, by the way, Mr. Patriot. And yeah, I watched a couple of your shows that you had on the other day. Those were interesting. And I agree with your sentiments as far as this being some form of therapy, whatever it is. So don't really go on any websites that are controversial for our hobby. It's all good stuff here. So yeah, if you do a different period or a different scale, that's cool too. Doesn't matter. But don't really need to do the miniature page. As a matter of fact, last night I was having trouble falling asleep, and I was watching another blogger that he had signed on yesterday and reminded me of it. And I watched a couple, I hadn't seen his videos in, I think, probably over a year. And he has a very easy to listen to, calming voice. And he'd done some different kind of videos, and I couldn't go to sleep, so I put my, whatever those headphones are that aren't headphones, earbuds, yeah, and listen to him for several minutes just to kind of relax. So the bottle that you bought and tested from Amazon chipped easily before base coating, so I'm sticking with spray primers. I am back. I had no intention of leaving. It's the damn Taliban at it again. Sons of bitches. Yeah, stick with what you're happy with. So I use spray for the longest time, but then when I spray, I still have to go back and brush paint, which I was happy to do and save a lot of trouble, but it just becomes so difficult to get certain paints. That Rust-Oleum, when they bought out testers, they just did all kinds of stuff. I mean, I was using Testors Acryl because it was more durable. But, we talked about this. Their bottle system sucks. And so they, so then I ended up going to their enamel, and they stopped carrying the enamel. Well, no, they carry the enamel in black gloss. And the problem with black gloss is I'm having a struggle on seeing, like, is that a spot that has no paint, or is that like a shine on there? You know, it was just becoming too much of a pain. So I don't know what happened. I think I saw this. I was surfing Amazon or something, and I saw this product, and I'm like, well, I like everything else Vallejo. And I read a couple of reviews, and I'm like, ah, screw it. Maybe I just pissed away $20. And I've been happy with it. But normally I would use the spray and then just hand paint. I can't spray everything because I'm going to miss some spots. And in order to get the most, I'm going to have to put more spray than I'm comfortable with in some places. And it's just going to cover up the detail. And I don't want to go there, you know. End up being my own worst enemy, so. Mr. Primer was nasty stuff on my brushes. I don't know what... I'm not familiar with that one. Mr. Primer. Sounds like something that's from Japan. They have something that's a Mr. something. Series of like glue and stuff. It's supposed to be pretty good stuff. Mr. Hobby, I think is what it is. Or as they say over there, Mr. Hobby. I'd never seen this stuff before, and then I came across it. I heard about it before I ever saw it, and they had it at Hobby Lobby, and I'm like, I don't know what this stuff is. But here's the funny thing is I got back into working on some of my models, some of my 20mm models, about a year ago. And I hadn't done plastic models in, we'll say 30 years. And I got really used to, like, the stuff that I do now, none of it smells. This paint has no smell. You know, I mean, when I spray the sealant, it has smell, but it's in the garage, you know, and I walk away from it and I spray with the door open. You know, it's not concentrated smells, but I like to use for plastic models. I like to use the stuff that, well, I used the testers for a long time. The testers weld cement. Talk about old school, right? That's the stuff that my dad used to do, used to use that for a long time. Do I still have it here? I don't know if my cements are still here. You know which one I'm talking about. The one has a little brush on it. And that has a really powerful smell when you're not used to having things have smells anymore. And I ended up picking up some of that. This stuff I love. I love this stuff because it smells like oranges. It comes from California. Microscale, micro weld. And it works just as good as the other stuff. And it smells like oranges. I'm sure you don't want to drink it, but you know. And then what else did I get? I got the other one I got the Tamiya one as well. So, and what I really liked about the Tamiya is that it had a really small brush applicator. Really small. But this stuff is strong smelling, like, you know, like the old Testers weld cement. You know, they used to come in a little flat container that was about this size, but it had a lid that was rounder and not very tall, and it had like a built-in brush in it. But this stuff smells really good. You know, not that you want your whole room to smell like it, but it doesn't smell oppressive. Never really used the tube stuff. Never even thought about huffing stuff like that with, you know, kids getting high on them. Man, just go have a beer, dude. Poison. Hey, this stuff gets me high. Dude, it's killing you. It's poison. Yeah. I guess there's people that do that stuff. Cough medicine. Oh, man, the last time I bought cough medicine was, I don't know, 5-6 years ago or something like that. I got by Robitussin or something like that. So I go to the checkout counter, and they're like, well, I got to get a manager. So what do you got to get a manager for? Well, I got to check your ID and stuff. I'm like, I'm 40-something years old. What the hell do you need to check my ID for? Well, people use it to make freaking drugs. I said, they do? What, is there no tequila where you're from? I don't know, man. I don't get drugs. I don't get it. Never did. Vallejo primers a few years ago were peeling off on 1/35th scale models. Many videos on that. Ooh, maybe they changed the formula, but the bottle I had could rub the paint off easily. Interesting. 1/35th, yeah, I did. I did time on 1/35th scale models. I'd buy one, and I would get some serious analysis paralysis on that. I'm talking about in the early 90s. I'd go and buy a model or something, and then I'd get halfway done. Something would happen, like I couldn't figure out which version of it I would do, or didn't know how I was going to work it in something. Something would happen. I would stop building it, and I would get another one and start building it. So the next thing you know, I had like so many that were unfinished, and it was liberating to get rid of them all. It was kind of like the point of no return. So now I know I got to keep myself on a shorter leash than that, or it's just really unsatisfying just to buy a bunch of stuff and not do anything with it. Or worse yet, half-ass finish things. That's very unsatisfying. For me, anyways. Yeah, the 90s. Back when we had Tamiya kits and we had Avalon Hill games, and both of those had really clear instructions. Now we've got Tamiya and now we have DBA and I can't think of any model. I built a Russian. I have a Russian ISU 122 I was working on the other day that I'd gotten that kit right after the Soviet Union fell. I think it was from I'm not sure if it's from the Ukraine or not, but the instructions are just abysmal. Abysmal instructions. You know, had no like sync points where you could tell, oh, this thing fits right here because here's the little notch for it. Nope, you're just totally on your own. But I don't have a big interest in building models anymore. You know, back when you used to do them, there was no internet, so you're like wondering, like, hey, I wonder how this SU-76 looks like from the back. So you build a model so you can see what an SU-76 looks like from the back. But now it's like you could just go online and see pictures of it from all other angles. I'm like, I don't need to build this to get an idea of, you know, how big it is. Maybe just spoiled by not having to do that. But I was mentioning that the other day, is the fact that the miniature manufacturers have pictures of their miniatures online is good and bad. It's good because you know what you're getting, but it's bad because I've personally have ordered things in the past because I'm wondering, hey, I wonder how these figures look. So you order them, and you know, most of the time you're disappointed, unfortunately. But you know, there was that excitement about, I wonder what these figures, what poses are going to come with, or how many are that. Now, you know, online you have access to all that stuff, so you don't get some of that excitement is no longer there, which, you know, it's stressful excitement, so, you know. I have 2 p.m. meeting today, so I have to go. How dare work interfere with your YouTube feed? I agree. I think you should just quit. Just quit and have them give you a stimmy. Do you have those in New Zealand? Work meeting at 2. Yeah, but you're not going into work, right? You're just like Zooming the meeting. 2 p.m. Yeah, you'll be back. You're almost always on when I'm on. I think our times worked well together, even though we're kind of on opposites. You know, you're frequently a day ahead. Now, this helmet that this guy has is really just a helmet that's made out of reeds. So it's going to be a really light color. It's not going to be metallic or anything. It's not like it's a bronze helmet or something. know how useful a reed helmet would be. It certainly wouldn't be useful in a forest fire, that's for sure. Walking around, running around with even more kindling on you. It's a bad idea. Viejo primers can be sprayed with air paint sprayer, but the paint ended up peeling, so people are frowning on it. Testers spray primers seem to be the best, but expensive and hard to find. The Testers Model Master stuff, I was using the gloss to seal, and then the flat to seal on top of that. And they don't carry them anymore. I remember when they were like $2.99, and now they're like $6.99 if you can find them, and they might even be more than that. And they have a tiny amount of volume, so I've gone to using a more bulk type of sealant for them, and so far so good. I was a little hesitant that it was going to clog up, or that something bad was going to happen. But ever since Testers got bought by Rust-Oleum, they dropped a lot of things, and made in Rockford, Illinois. Mitch says that place is a shithole. I'll take his word for it. It's just right around the corner from where he used to live up there. Figure he's got the inside scoop on that. Yeah, I got bought by Rust-Oleum, I guess, a couple of years ago, and discontinued a lot of their redundant lines, which, I don't mind. Makes sense to me. Rust-Oleum matte varnish. Is that what you use? It's not too thick? I always thought Rust-Oleum was really, really thick stuff. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm just scared of trying it on a figure that I've spent 4 hours on. I'm like, no! I haven't seen if I've gotten a lot of views on that one video I did on how I varnish things. I did that video a couple of months ago. Maybe even more than a couple of months ago. Because it seemed like everybody was having issues with things clouding. I've never had a problem with it. Ever. I think people are just... I think they're spraying it on too thick. Well, they could be using old product. Spraying it on too... Using old product, which used to be my problem with epoxy in the 90s. Epoxy in the 90s just never worked for me. Never would set. But I think it's either old product or they've got their spray can at room temperature in the house, and then they go to the garage, which is much hotter or much colder, and it's changing temperature in midair, and that's causing it to frost, or they're just spraying it on too thick. That's my unprofessional opinion, but I'm wondering, what it was, because I was trying to make a note of, all right, well, why have I been successful with it every time? I mean, it's not a humidity issue. I have sprayed with the garage open in the middle of a rainstorm in Florida, so it doesn't get much wet in that. I mean, maybe if you live in, Panama or something like that, but so that can't be it. But I do store the can in the garage. There's no point in bringing it in. It was just, I didn't make a conscious effort of trying to avoid problems. I just kind of did it how I always did and just never encountered those issues that plague lots of people. It's very good. Okay. I just gotta see. Do they carry that at Home Depot? I bet they carry it at Home Depot or Lowe's. I don't have to go to the Wally World. Hopefully. Won't go there. They're still banned in my book from that stunt that they tried 3 years ago with the pulling ammo from the stores. I wasn't worthy enough to buy ammo. So that's fine. You can buy your Chinese shit. I'll buy my Chinese shit somewhere else, I guess. Don't need any of your stuff. I don't need to buy stuff from you anyways. I bet those places. I bet Lowe's or Home Depot carry it because they got a crap ton of colors. Home Depot. Okay, good. You got to test everything, as you know, and temps are important. Doesn't like high or low temps. 65 to 70 seems to work fine. Dude, I've sprayed in the 90s. I don't have a choice. I hate the 90s, but I live here, you know. It's not 65 to 75 much here at all. Unfortunately. I wish it was cooler. I wish it was cooler, but can't imagine living anywhere else, though. Maybe it's just psychological. Maybe you need to be surrounded by water. That was the secret. Even though I'm an hour and a half from it. Yeah, Home Depot. We'll have to try that in Home Depot. Yeah, we used to go there and get ammo, you know, back in the days. Was it that long ago? 2013, 2014? That was just the other day. 9 mil and gotten down to almost $9 a box, something like that. I think I even bought some for $8.99. Obviously brass, not that steel shit. And yeah, who knows what it is now. We used to go once a month to do some tactical stuff, Mitch and I, and it was fun meeting people. Half the people were cool. The other half were just assholes. Just like any other hobby. Half the people there are cool, and the other half are never happy. You know, they're always, oh, well, I have this. Oh, well, that's no good. I got 4 of them, and they're no, you know, car people, you know, anything. War gamers, you know, same thing. It's a human problem. You know, it's not necessarily the hobby that you're into. So it's like, I don't really want to be around people that are unfriendly or have attitudes. So, people that play something competitive and they can't lose, you know, and they get angry and start throwing stuff, and it's like, come on, dude. I don't like being around those people. Oh, the whole world's full of them. Sports fans that get angry. I live in a town that has a huge sports presence. It's like it's the only thing here, pretty much. But you know, I couldn't care less. But you know, so I've been around grumpy fans, or you know, my whole life basically. So I've had enough of that. You hear Still-Ends has a good paint brush primer. I've never heard of them. Still-Ends. Sounds like it'd be German. Are we almost done? Oh, well, we got to do a little chariot. We want to make sure that this stuff is ready to roll like tomorrow when we get back to it. I hate having to split the video in 2 parts, but you know, Mother Internet just had other plans, you know. And it only disconnected for like a minute, maybe even less than that, but it doesn't allow me to keep it connected. It kicks me off. I don't know what it is, OBS. We'll blame it on OBS. All right, let's see if we can. I'm gonna have to be creative here. I like using black because if I forget something, it's still black, you know? It's an extra shadow you guys didn't think you were gonna get on the thing. So for the schedule, next weekend we added, we were doing a how to play DBA game in the first session, but since we're no longer holding it at the convention, everybody that's coming over is already experienced players. We're going to do a run of Wimp Wars as well. So you guys aren't familiar with Wimp Wars. Wimp Wars is everybody has at least 6 elements have to be Saloy or Light Horse, any combination. You can have 5 of one and 1 of the other. You could have all 6 of one kind, whatever. They make interesting games because they're, you know, half your army is kind of flighty and, you know, low numbers and stuff like that. But I don't think we're going to be able to film it. I think it's just going to be too much commotion. And even with only a handful of people, there's just a lot of, you know, back and forth talking, multiple games going on at the same time kind of thing. So, but we'll try to take some pictures and post those on there as well. So, but we've got, we're going to run that in the first session instead of the learning game. The learning game. So, say develop your own process and do what works for you. I don't push my style on others, but I do provide options on my videos. I always have options, tools, paints available to solve problems. Yeah, I can see where you get a lot done, like basing all your guys at once first. There's another painter that he's up there. I want to say he's in Kentucky, and he paints for other people. And that's what he does. He glues all his figures how he wants them, which I actually would like to do it that way because that's one of my favorite things to do is figure out who's going to go where, but I don't do that until they're all done. And then just bases them all black and just dry brushes the figures. And he sold a lot of armies. I'm not sure if he's still painting, if he's still playing these days, but he does sell armies. And he'll paint a whole army in a weekend, you know. So whereas, you know, it takes me half a year, seems like. But anyhow, yeah. So here's the chariot. Figures to go with the chariot, so forth. 29 minutes. Yeah, should just been able to leave me connected. I knew I wasn't gonna be on that much longer, but I did need to go ahead and do that. So I appreciate you guys coming back for another round of chit chat. And you know, we got about a week to get these guys done. I want to spray these guys in the morning and then in the afternoon. Well, you can't see them, they're on here. And then we'll base them. And while the goop is drying, we'll work on this other stuff. So definitely should be some painting this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So hope to see you guys soon. And hey, maybe we'll be on here tomorrow as well. Need to get in here to the end. I'd like to get as much done of these guys as I can. So, okay, well, folks, Thanks for coming by. Have a good Thursday evening. Thursday? I'm already getting ahead of myself. Wednesday evening. And we'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.